I'm at Palmerston Heights and we're going to look at Plymouth's forgotten battlefield that never was. It's hard for us to understand today that had Napoleon instructed his troops to invade Plymouth, this is one of the very possible options that could have happened. So where I'm standing now in Palmerston Heights would have been where the French would be, looking down towards Crown Hill Fort that way, and more importantly to Bowden Battery, Forder Battery that way. It's hard to imagine that today, where we have the wind of spring and lovely birdsong, this could have been the site of bloody death and destruction. Little remains here today of the landscape where the French would have tried to hide. We have a hedge here, and we could well see the infantry could have perhaps hid on the other side of that hedge. What we have to do is strip away the vegetation that has grown here since the 1860s. Although at the bottom by the stream there would have indeed been vegetation, but most of the hill in front of us that takes us to Bowden would have been left open with nowhere for enemy to hide. No buildings, no large stones, no trees, no hedges. This would have made it an open area, a killing field. We're descending down into what is known as the Colston area. This was an area of agriculture, and there were a few buildings here at the time. However, had the French invaded, we, the Brits, would have had to destroy those so they could not be used by the invading enemy. Just up there amongst the trees is a wall. That would have been good. You could hide behind that and shoot over the top. We must not forget this never happened, but it's what we thought would happen. When this area was being made as it is today, it's called the Seton Valley Nature Reserve. You have to wonder what artefacts were found. Common sense dictates that back in the 1860s, 1870s, when the risk was high, there would have been some sort of artillery practice from the fortifications to the south of here. So therefore, what could have landed here? I wonder if the workmen found any musket balls or cannonballs. We're descending down to the stream now. Now, had the worst happened, the stream would have played an important part in the defence. Here we have a stream flowing into a pond, and then the pond empties down into the bottom stream. All this would have helped defend Plymouth against the invading French and would have been a big obstacle for them. We see here how we're at the bottom of the valley with the fortifications high up on the south bank, just there. Can you hear the stream? Can you hear the song of the birds? And underneath that, the sound of the stream, where once there could have been musket fire, cannon fire, and screams of men being injured and killed. I said earlier, the stream was an intricate part of the defences. The reason is quite simple. Back in the day, there were trees here. Not as many as today, but there were trees. Had the French been on their way, probably landing at, say, Salcombe, the River Yelm, Blackpool, the infantry here and the local militia would have cut down the trees in this area. They would have laid them right across the stream and caused this entire area to flood. We mustn't forget, even though in those days we had no instant communication, we would have known the French were on their way. We had spies everywhere, just as they did. So there'd been a lot of time to cut down the trees and prepare this to flood this whole area. So the French would have found it very hard to cross here with horses pulling heavy field artillery. Infantry, yes, I'm certain, but they would have then had to sail right up here to Bowden Battery under intense fire. Today, a beautiful walk amongst the trees, bird song and wind and stream. How many people walking here today, and there have been others we've seen, know what could have happened here? I've never realised before how sheer the climb up to Bowden Battery would be. Just imagine having come all the way from France on foot by ship and a heavy backpack, having to climb up there under enemy fire. Wow. It's just so lovely here. The whole area leaks water, so it would really help in the defence. This is the stream running to the Plym. I just had a thought. I wonder if when they fired, if they fired cannonballs from the Bowden up the top there, right over here to the area on my left, which is Palmerston Heights. I wonder if the army sent out a work party to bring them back. Go on, mate, find those balls and hump them back here. It's the sort of crazy thing the military could well do. In some places, the stream is quite substantial. I wonder how long it would have taken to flood. A mat of primroses. Beautiful. So even if our lucky French infantryman was lucky enough to survive this far, he would now be under the fire of Bowden Battery at the top here. In my mind's eye, I can see French infantrymen lying low on this open space, ready to assault the fortifications at the top. We're coming towards the end of the path now, and you see something quite surprising. Look what's there. Plymouth's Platinum Parkway. Not gold, not silver, but platinum. Whether you support this road or not, it is a feat of modern engineering. I must say, to me, it's beautiful, and I don't anyway condone destruction of habitat. But this does have a beauty of its own. So that's the end of our little walk today, where history meets the present time. We'll come back here in the summer when the leaves are green Whatever you think about things, nature is fabulous, isn't it? Flowers, bird song, wind, even a little bit of rain that just popped down. It's the best. The Seton Valley Nature Reserve. Nature and history combined.